All right, today's video, we're gonna talk about a reverse spine tilt and why that's gonna help you hit it straighter. So we got a viewer question in, and I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Robert Trimboli's question was pretty sarcastic. We like sarcasm.
It's okay.
He wants to know how you can hit it straighter and longer with a reverse spine tilt. His comment is in direct response to our videos about the virtual spine.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, so it's a valid question. There's a lot of confusion about what a reverse spine tilt is. You ask 10 golfers, you're gonna get 10 different answers. So Sean, let's first define what it is and then talk about what we're showing, why it's actually not a reverse spine tilt, and then talk about what the best players in the world do.
Okay, so I think just to define what most people commonly would think as reverse spine tilt is at the top of the swing, if the spine is any degree tilted toward the target after they've made a full, like say 90-degree shoulder turn or trunk rotation. They turn 90 with their rib cage. If there's any amount or degree of bend backwards with their upper body, people would define that as reverse spine angle.
Most people probably would, yeah.
Yeah. So I think there was a whole generation of golfers, me included, that were taught that that was absolutely wrong, and they had the 3D data to prove it, that you should be maybe anywhere from like 5 to 15 degrees bent away from the target.
Forward bend.
Forward bend.
Away from the target.
So if this is forward bend at address, this would be forward bend to the top, so it would be away from the target, which a lot of golfers would think that's a pretty good looking top of the backswing. Any kind of lean away from the target. And it was also told that it was easier on the back and all this other information went along with that. So what we're seeing and what we've learned in the last few years, Mike and his teaching partner Scott Hamilton, who's also a partner in AMG, they've collected more good swings than anybody else. I've got some good ones, but they've got a tremendous database of great players. And invariably, and we've got a PGA Tour player up here, the virtual spine number, which is basically a line that connects the base of the pelvis to the middle of the rib cage, is in many instances, not everybody, but many instances, actually lean toward the target.
So 90 degrees would be straight up and down.
Yeah.
Anything less than 90 would be tilted, the upper body, upper torso tilted towards the target. More than 90, tilted away from the target.
Absolutely. And to dive a little deeper, we can look at the rib cage bend number. So
basically a spot from right here.
Yeah, and what that's doing, and what we're seeing with that is it's actually bent backwards. And you can see it, like, you know, in the swings of like a Justin Thomas, and we've never measured him, but I mean, just looking at that swing, it would almost classify as a reverse spine angle if we thought about it a few years back.
Exactly.
But we're seeing a lot of these great players not have forward bend of the rib cage at the top, which would be this way. So don't get afraid of having this action at the top where you extend your spine, because it actually is advantageous in a way that puts you in a better spot in early transition. Because we found that really good ball strikers keep the upper center of their body and the lower center of their body on top of each other longer in the downswing. And if you're already pre-tilted with a lot of forward bend away from the target, it's virtually impossible to do that. So this little bit of spine tilt helps with that. When you shift, it keeps you from toppling a lot. Not only that, when you tilt back a little bit with your upper body, you can take your arms farther around the clock, basically. Make a longer backswing, which gives you more time to add force on the downswing. And if you're here at the top, straightish or even bent back a little, you can more forcefully gain forward bend again.
Golfers have really, the evolution of golfers they've really started to figure out, the courses have got so demanding.
You gotta figure out how to hit it farther.
They've started to figure out how to generate more club head speed without really, golfers aren't really getting that much bigger relative to other professional sports.
That's right.
Nobody's confusing an early tee time on the PGA Tour with the starting lineup of the Dallas Mavericks.
No, but the courses are getting longer.
But the courses are growing exponentially. So golfers are figuring out that you can control this mass movement at the top to really start to leverage what you do into the ground to generate more speed and to hit the ball out of the center of the club face easier.
Yeah, and that action of extending the spine and then reflexing it, I mean, there is a lot of force in
Yes.
that motion. As you make that move, it contributes to the force you're able to put in early into the club head. The more you can get in early, it's just like, let's say, a bobsled team.
Right.
The faster they can push to start with, the more they're going to get it up to speed when it really counts. So if you're starting from over here, you don't get the advantage of adding in that forward bend early in the downswing.
That's
I
right.
think it holds you back from a lot of club head speed.
You're left without the ability to tap into a lot of power generating moves when you do that.
Absolutely.
Now, as far as the safety of your back goes, I have 6 screws in my spine. I can't play golf without being in a lot of pain when I start to keep forward bend. I have to. The only way to protect my back when I play is to keep my spine very neutral.
Mike makes a good point. I have a herniated disc in my lower back as well. And when I had a lot of forward bend and slid out of the gate, I compressed
That move
the
makes
spine.
me cringe.
Yeah, it actually made my back pain worse. So I'm better off staying fairly neutral here and staying basically straight with my spine here in
Yes.
the early downswing, not tilted one way or the other. Then adding the tilt late, which is a lot less tilt than I used to have,
Yes.
and take some strain off my
So
back.
we are by no means saying we're PhDs
No.
or MDs or anything else.
Just
We're
from my
sharing
own
with you our own
experience.
experience. My back is much safer and doesn't hurt when I keep my spine neutral.
Absolutely.
We see it with our senior golfers, we see it with our young golfers, female golfers, whatever. We don't get much back pain at all when you take a player from here and teach them how to play from a neutral spine.
Yeah, and by no means do we want you bent back.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
So that is the
Yeah.
reverse spine
So
tilt.
you've got a window there that works.
We're talking about the upper spine. You've got to also remember the lower spine's involved. So if you're taking your backswing
Yeah.
and throwing these hips way over, my top of my spine hasn't moved. Now I'm in a severely reverse spine
Now
tilt.
turn. Now you're
Now
in a bad
turn.
spot.
That's no bueno. We are not suggesting anyone do that at all.
No.
And we don't see players do that. So that's a reverse spine tilt. You making a strong pivot and keeping this spine neutral is not a reverse spine tilt.
No, absolutely not. So, the moral of the story for my own game, which a lot of this stuff comes from me just trying everything
Sure.
over the years from different teachers, is trying to start with reverse K,
Right.
maintain it through the whole swing to try to get somewhere at impact. It just doesn't work like that in the best players.
That's exactly right. And if you've seen Scott's videos, he talks about the same thing. I was taught to do that. Scott used to teach golfers to do that. It was what was taught not too long ago.
No.
But now that we have better measurement systems to be able to track what golfers are actually doing and see why, relating that to the pressure
Wow.
movements, we're actually to see better ways to skin the cat. And when you're taking guys who are 5'7", 5'8", 150 pounds soaking wet, and they play courses that are approaching 8,000 yards, there's a reason they're able to generate that club head speed without being just hulking individuals.
That's right.
But the cool thing is it works for the guy who's 70 years old.
Works for everybody.
It works for everybody, and it's going to keep you safe if you do it. But again, it's neutrality, not jamming that hip way out there on the right.
Beautiful.
Thanks for watching. Let us know if you have a reverse spine tilt the bad way, or if you think what we're teaching is a reverse spine tilt the good way. Let us know. We'd love to hear your comments. We'll do more we can to explain this and why it's so beneficial for your golf swing, just as it is for the pros. Click on the big golf ball if you haven't already done so. We'll see you on the next one.